I don't care what kind of a bad fucking day you're having. It's Unholy Testicle Tuesday. That is right. Welcome to another edition of Tracks of the Damned. And this is October. So what? This is our second one of October, man. Damn. It always seems like this month goes too fast.
Yeah. They ain't no one hell us. What's today? The 8th? I don't feel like we're 8 days into this shit.
Right. It's like fucking hell. And I've already fit in 10,000 fucking horror movies. But yeah, we are definitely happy to have you. Hey, Kyler, what's going on, brother? Tonight, our special guest is Cody Gray of Defiler of the Crown Art. Always a pleasure to have him with us while Hoofbeast is off doing other things. So we've decided to kind of switch gears. We're in fucking spooky month. So we decided to do an episode on goth metal bands. Definitely not something we've talked about. And, what better of subgenre of metal than goth metal as it pertains to all things spooky and horror. So this is the time. Share this out anywhere and everywhere that there is a horror lover. And we're going to get down to all this business here as soon as, and if I can get this to pop up, there we go. We're going to take a quick commercial break to our brothers at Villain Arts Tattoos. Check that shit out. That's right. You all know what to do. Get down to Villain Arts Tattoo Convention when it comes to your city, state, or town and get your ass a fine, high quality tattoo by some of the best artists in the country. And 2025 Reaper is coming back. So you just might see me there. Hey, Paul Nada in the house. Wow, this is yet another gracing of your presence. I'm glad you are able to join us this evening. But yeah, man. So that's what we're talking about tonight is it's our list. Now let us preface this real quick. There are so many. There's like a top 100 list somewhere that I've even seen. So we're just kind of like scratching the surface with 10 goth metal bands that we think are some of the best of all time. So there's no ranking here, and first let's go ahead and tell everybody kind of what are the elements of goth metal. For me, before I let you do your spiel there, brother, it definitely sets an atmosphere. It is definitely has some spooky, eerie kind of, keys, sometimes even, spooky samples. Most of the time it's very melodic. It's not always aggressive vocals, and the tempos are not always that fast.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel about it. It's an atmosphere. It's the same atmosphere you can do with black metal. How you get the dark droning feeling, you can get the kind of not the droning feeling, but the darkness from that metal. From it, if you're walking into a Victorian vampire's house, this is what you're going to see or hear. That's when I think of goth metal, that's what I think of. I think of like operatic. I love some people don't believe females should be in metal, but I think they should. The female voice
Uh,
in metal can do a
I don't
lot of
know how
things.
many people actually feel that way, and if they do, I think that's kind of silly.
It was
Uh,
some things that it was some stuff I seen a while back talking about this. You know what I'm talking about. But anyways, like the female voice to me goes so much better with gothic metal because of the how they hit the high notes and everything like that. That's my feeling. And I have a female led band on mine, so I felt like they should be included. So
and there's nothing wrong with that. And it doesn't matter the gender. There
yeah,
are plenty of amazing bands, I think, that fall into this category a lot. Um, on both sides. Oh,
yeah.
let's see here. Erica Moore, welcome. Says like not what they had on Queen of the Dead soundtrack, like Evanescence. Oh, I
Queen
think
of
you're
the
talking
Damned.
about Queen of the Damned. Yeah. Um, yeah. You
Slept
know,
so the song "Slept So Long" off that album is amazing, and it's definitely a heavier goth than by damn, I can't remember his name. Gordon. I cannot remember
oh
his name
man,
now. I'm gonna have to look it up now.
I'd have to look that up because I know Jonathan Davis did most of that.
Yeah,
Uh,
they had him, Manson, Chester Bennington, and a bunch of Jay Gordon is the guy's name.
oh, gotcha. So that was more like a collaboration track.
Yeah, the whole album was.
Oh, the whole album. Fuck.
Yeah, if you
I'll
watch
have
the
to take a
movie
look at that a little deeper.
when you watch the movie and if they preview the song Redeemer, that's Marilyn Manson singing that.
Oh, gotcha.
So each song was by a different person. Even David Drummond was on it.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah,
I remember that now. Um, but yeah, they really should have mixed it up. I think on the Queen of the Damned soundtrack. If there isn't any
yeah.
like female-fronted metal bands on that soundtrack, then I think they fucked up. To be
Oh,
perfectly,
yeah.
but I mean, I haven't been a big fan of what Evanescence has done after the first couple albums. But as of late, I would say the last couple records that they had put out were pretty damn good, in my opinion. They changed a lot of personnel and added a monster of a drummer too. So,
Yeah.
I'm definitely a fan. But
The
I think
last Evanescence album I remember is the one that had "Call Me When You're Sober" on it. That's the last one I remember listening to.
yeah, that was the second one.
That was.
It wasn't as heavy. That kind of falls into that category that we've talked about where some bands have a great fucking album and then shit the bed on the follow-up.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely right. Jonathan Davis was behind that soundtrack. Yep, he absolutely was. He also pretty much did the entire score for the film. It was Jay Devil who was doing all the singing every single time Lestat was performing. So the soundtrack itself, though, I have to actually check it out to see what all artists are on it.
I used to have it. Like I said before, all my shit got stolen before, so I'm having to redo my CDs. So,
dude, I've lost so many CDs and so many moves. It's not even worth talking about. I'll get real sad if I do. But yeah, so why don't you go ahead and start us off there, brother? What is one of your picks as one of the top goth metal bands?
my first pick. I heard them when I was young. Which their first album come out in the like '92, I believe, and I didn't hear them till around 2004, which I was a baby in the '90s. So as I got older and I found them, I was about 12 when I first heard them, and it's not really as metal, but it's more goth and roll, and that's the 69 Eyes. This is my first one. The first album that I ever heard by them was Devils, and this one it did come out in 2004. And they just have To me, they feel like they're heavily influenced by a little bit of Typo Negative and a little bit of Paradise Lost. They have a mixture of them in there. You can hear the lead singer's voice can mimic those twos really well.
Wow.
Um,
Even like Peter's lower end.
yeah, that the vampiric sound that Peter would do.
Oh yeah, sure.
He can hit that very well. And
Yeah, as so many times that I've heard the name, I never really got a chance to listen to him, so that's cool. I'll definitely have to. Oh, Erica, you're the Luna Projects. Oh, okay, so Sugar's friend.
Yeah.
I remember now.
They have a song called Two Horns Up that's got Danny Filth in it. So,
Oh, nice.
and
Yeah, but I mean, they've definitely got the look, as it were.
back
Because
in the early 2000s, they had that goth look going on, really going on. Which they're older now. They still have the elder goth look, I guess you could call it.
you know damn well Peter Steele would be too.
Oh
He'd
yeah,
still have the black hair, maybe throw in like,
I watched
some of the gray come through.
I watched one of their live performances from the other day, from not too long before he passed away, and he just had the black hair, the black thing, and the little green placard to look like a priest,
Yeah,
slinging wine around on stage like he's whatever blessing people.
right. Absolutely. He wasn't nearly as big as he was towards the end, though. He got real thin.
Yeah, you could tell he was sick looking.
Well, I mean, that's what happens with I hate to say it, but alcoholism. When that becomes your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that's what ends up happening. But he still sounded great. The band was kicking. Life was really good. Which actually, that wasn't even what took him out. So it was just.
I think he had a heart attack, didn't he?
No. He died from having something called what was that? Oh man, it's this stomach condition that if you get it, if it goes untreated, you can die from it. I'll probably come up with it. But yeah, excellent choice for your first one there. That, like I said, that's definitely a band that I feel like I need to check out. So
definitely start with your older and then work your way to the new, because they change over time.
Diverticulitis. That's what it was. Thank you. That's what ended up killing him. So
that's crazy.
But at any rate, excellent choice, brother. So I kind of like dipped into some familiars, but at the same token, I wanted to find some ones that, people don't always mention all the time. And one of those bands is, it's funny because they kind of started out as a black metal band, but they ended up kind of more or less kind of like exploring other avenues. They got a little bit theatrical, very, in goth fashion, of course. And I'm talking about the Portuguese band Moonspell.
I've heard of them before.
Oh yeah, they are synonymous with goth metal more than most bands, I think. They still have very much a heavy sound because they were an extreme metal band, and they still have or kind of held on to some of those extreme metal roots as they were kind of going into the more goth direction. The lead singer, just a very good baritone singer, able to do highs and lows, heavy riffing, lots of chuggaliciousness, not to mention the keys and the synth was not so overpowering that you wouldn't really be able to get down to it. Drummer is fucking fan fucking tastic. Double bass drummer. And I don't know, just you can really hear the bass in it too, which is something that I absolutely love. Anytime when you have a good, clean mix like that. And they just kept getting better and better. Now, the last, I hate to say it, but the last album was definitely them, I would say, slowing down.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you get, into your 50s like that, you try to hold on to it. Not everybody at that age can continue to be that heavy. And most of the original members are still there, so they're all up in age. So I definitely recommend checking out Irreligious, because there are just bangers on that record, that I think why their success has been so good is because they're very crossover.
Yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah.
My next pick is not going to be a band that has they may have one or two little, I won't even call them growl vocals. They may be just a little bit of heavier vocal than in it at all. But my next band is him. Um, to me, if I'm trying to figure out how to word it, that album that was the first album that I ever heard by him. It was Great Love Songs, Volume 666.
Mm-hmm.
And then this first album, they covered Blue Oyster Cult's "Don't Fear the Reaper" on that album.
It's rather interesting.
Yeah. I think my favorite song off that album is "When Love and Death Embrace." But yeah, that was the first album that I heard. Then the first album that I bought was Love Metal, and that entire album is pretty much my favorite of all of the him albums. There's no song on that album that I skip. I listen to it from front to back. Then they come out a little, I think 2 years after that one with Dark Light, and that album was still a little bit heavier. It had Rip Out the Wings of a Butterfly, Killing Loneliness on it. There's one other one under there. Under the Rose was a good one.
Gotcha.
But after that album, they kind of, like you said, I think they kind of shifted and kind of slowed down for me. They didn't have that same balls to the wall goth style to me, which at that point, Billy was pretty much an alcoholic anyways. And that was kind of a thing that was going on. So, but yeah, the later albums aren't as good. They're still good to me, but they're just that melodic, clean vocal metal band that I love. So
he was definitely very spooky too, in the way that he sang. In a way, it's funny. We were talking about the fucking Queen of the Damned film. Very very much, kind of almost Bauhausy a little bit. I can remember when they first came out, and it was like they became this cult phenomenon. Everyone was wearing their fucking shirts. I seen them everywhere, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? Why are all, well?" And of course, mostly it was girls wearing the shirts. I'm like, why are they so fucking on this guy's junk, right? I didn't know too much about him until I actually went and listened to him. I was like, oh, this is pretty good stuff. It's not always my cup of tea. I could definitely say it's more of a mood.
exactly.
I think it's good music for a good mood, especially if you're, dark as fuck like we are here at Morgrad Entertainment, and
we talk about
our groove on.
You talk about guilty pleasures. Like I eat, sleep, and breathe metal. That's all I listen to. I may randomly listen to a country song, but every now and then I still want the heavy, but my brain's like, you need to chill out on growling and you need to just relax. And him is definitely that band. Them and Typo fucking Negative is my two bands that I just kind of sit back, relax to it, and next day I'm back to my heavy shit. So.
Well, sure. I mean, you don't really see people unless they live their life very, very dramatically.
Yeah.
You don't just see them rocking it out. I mean, there are, now, don't get me wrong, there are some typo negative songs that you just want to blast in the fucking car.
Oh, I do.
It can give you, some supercharged fuel. But him though, like I said, very good band. They're very, very different. And I do dig them. So definitely recommend all of you out there in the Morgrot universe to check them out if you haven't. And they kind of, just as quick as they came on the scene, they went right out the fucking door.
They toured. They toured for a while on with Dark Light. Then I think Venus Doom was their next one that they put out. But the band kind of just got to the point where they all decided they wanted to go out creatively. And with Billy Volo now, he tours on his own. He's still writing music. He puts out new
Oh, is
music
he?
on his own. He was in Nashville not too long ago. But
Oh, no shit. That's
yeah.
awesome. Okay.
But
Have it on in
it's
the house. What's going on, brother?
it's the Billy Volo sound without Gas Lipstick and all of them behind him. It's there. And which he says in his performances, I'm glad y'all know the new music and just don't come out for the nostalgia of it as well. So
right. Shoot, that happens. That happens to Manson. Shit, there ain't an original member in his band but himself.
Yeah.
Babylon says he'll be checking him out. As a matter of fact, Erica says, I know you're doing goth metal, but curious if you have heard of Wardruna. They're, I guess, considered Viking.
Yes.
Of course we are. They are next to shit. What's the other name? The other name of that Viking folk band? Hyalung. Those two bands are a religious experience.
I put my son to sleep with those bands.
Yeah, you see. I'll tell you what, it's very good meditatively, especially with if you are of the pagan peoples or, like us, and celebrate any of the Sabbats. They are perfect for, Yule, Samhain, which is Halloween to everyone else, midsummer, especially, spring equinox, all that stuff. Excellent music to be getting
every year. Every year when me and Rebecca are putting up the Yule tree, that's what we have on is either Highlung or Wardruna or something in that style. Just playing while we're doing it. We'll sit there with the door open, breeze blowing, lights on, and just sit there and chill out listening to them.
Yeah, exactly. There's good reason for it. All right. Excellent choice. Now, some people might kind of disagree with me on this one, and that's okay. But look wise, scary wise, like almost kind of, every song is a ghastly, grotesque story.
There's nothing wrong with that, though.
For sure. And they fit or were very much immersed in goth culture. They really are basically German industrial metal. And that is totally, totally true. But they do have a goth aspect to them. So this album in particular pretty much grabbed all the people that love. They were a crossover act. Metal guys loved them. Goth people love them. All of those, industrial, darker, types of listeners, because Rammstein really does give something so, oh man, I don't know, just shocking. Most people, it's like, of course they don't know. If they don't know how to speak German, they don't know exactly what they're singing about. But to be an astute person who takes the lyrics, finds the English translations, you find out real quick they're talking about some seriously sick shit.
Oh yeah.
And let's not forget how heavy the fucking riffing is. The drum, Christoph, the drummer, I absolutely love him. He's very talented. Flake, the keyboardist, he does, obviously does a lot of the sampling, but his synths though he does live. That's just all him doing it. And together, I think it really kind of gives you that goth sense in a lot of ways. They covered Depeche Mode more than once. So, I mean, Depeche Mode is synonymous with goth music. So the elements are there. And like I said, super fucking heavy. I really recommend listening to the first two records. Zensucht, which is the album that I put up there first. I highly recommend you listening to that front to backwards. There's not a bad fucking song on the record. Every single one is a banger. It has a couple of eerie, slower tunes, and they are just as killer, in my opinion.
The first time I ever heard them was off of the Resident Evil 2 soundtrack, and it was Mind Tale was on there, and that was the first. And I promise you, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying, but I can say every German word in that damn song. But
You're right.
To me, the song that has that feel.
That's why you got to know where to go.
To me, the song that they put out, that they have out, that has a real goth feel to me is Sonne, Sonne, I believe it's spelled.
Oh, Die Sonne, yeah. Which is just translates to the sun.
Yeah, it has that has a whistling at the beginning of it, gives you that feeling that you're like, oh shit, it's gonna go. It's something about to hit.
But then the metal part kicks in with the supercharged synths and all that stuff. Oh, unholy fuck! I love it. So yeah, if you haven't gotten down with the Stein, you need to. Especially, I mean, for those of you that are always looking for something heavy and spooky to listen to during the month of October, that fucking record is for you.
I promise you, they got way heavier songs than just Do Host. Everybody knows that goddamn song. Get past it.
I was gonna even say, skip that one. Skip that. The other songs on the record are fucking better than that one. That's just
Fire.
Rammed up down everybody.
Yeah, what is it? Firefly? That fucking song.
Furify.
Yeah, they had the fucking mask shooting the goddamn flames off of it and shit. Oh my god, that shit was.
Well, shoot.
Especially as a teenager seeing that shit. When I was in my teen, like, I want to do that shit for a living. How do I get paid to do that?
I mean, not to mention that the band is also very synonymous with the BDSM community. And
look at fucking Kill Lemon, you can tell that. On the tour now, like, I think they're still fucking touring. And I seen a post the other day, that fucker was in all red something. It looked like red latex. Like, every bit of him was red.
You know what, Erica and Lizzie, Angle was actually the first song that I heard off of Zensucht before I bought it. And I was completely hooked. And one of the coolest fucking things, because when they do videos, it's like a huge fucking event. You know what I mean? Where they actually recreate the bar scene inside the Titty Twister on
From Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn. But it's done their way, and they're the band, playing. So it's just fucking sick as hell.
Then they had isn't Engel the one where he comes out with a giant suit that has the wings that folds off his back and shoots flames out of it too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember watching all that shit when I was a kid, man. A teenager, he had that setting his back on fire and shit.
So fucking chuggy, because the chorus goes, "Goddamn, not an angel when I die," because Angle actually translates, or Angle translates into angel in English. Cool. I mean, there's the shit. I'm just gonna look it up real fast. Give me 2 seconds. There's so many good songs to recommend off of that record.
Every time I'm scrolling on Reels and Rammstein, like the like a fan shot video or like one of their pro shot videos pops up and you see the stage and shit, I watch every damn bit of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. Um, Tear is a really good one. Bestrafamish, which is a big one that translates into punish me.
Oh,
So
cool.
that's where people kind of got the sense of, oh, they're a little freaky deaky. Which actually it's kind of funny because he does whip himself on stage with a flogger, uh, but
I like that.
it also has to do with religion though too. So if you look a little deeper into the words, and then of course, that what it was called, clavier. The song clavier is this just haunting fucking track. Um,
I like
it's
Deutschland.
oh dude,
That song
what
gets stuck
a
in my
fucking
head so
song.
fucking much.
And the crazy part about it is it's really kind of a passionate thing of saying we are proud of who we are. We have such a horrible dark past that we hate ourselves, but we love our country.
Exactly.
It's so fucking sad too. Every time because I'm German, I'm almost I would say I'm about 85, 90%. And that's not because I'm bald out there in the Morgrab. But every time I hear that song, I always drop a tear. It's so good. It's heavy. It's upcharged, whatever you want to call it. It's a barn stomper, but damn it, when you think about what it is they're saying, there's a video that goes along with it too. You'll love it. So definitely start with the first two records. Well, actually, the first three records. My bad.
There's another song by them. I cannot remember the damn name of it. And I can't find it right now. I guess I'll find it later. But
No worries, brother.
uh, my
Which
next one, my next one's gonna be the female led band I was talking about, and it's probably not who you're thinking it is gonna be, but it's mine's Lacuna Coil. Uh, the first time I ever heard them was back when that fucking Headbangers Ball was actually a thing, and they was putting out CDs. Remember my friend had a Headbangers Ball 2 Revenge, and it was like a double disc CD, and I ripped it off of it and put it on the MP3 player. And I remember riding to school, and the first song I heard was "Our Truth" by Lacuna Coil, and then it just kind of went from there. Like went through their older stuff, found "Heaven's Alive," then found "Spellbound" and all those albums. So songs and albums, but yeah, she's just got a. Most time, if they talk about a female goth band, they're probably going to say Nightwish. And remember, what was her name? Tara was the original lead singer from Nightwish. She was good too, but Lacuna Coil, she had a different style voice than Tara had that operatic, just typical opera sounding voice. I love Nightwish, but to me, that she just had that basic sound. And to me, the lead singer of Lacuna Coil just brought something different. But it's now the singer for Nightwish, Floor Jensen. I think she's better than all of them. But she does it. She has her own distinct style. But yeah, Lacuna Coil definitely in that genre for me.
Absolutely. And the voice is definitely kind of key with that particular band. Although, I believe at its core members are still there.
Yeah.
It's just that they've had to change the vocalist. It's just like Arch Enemy, when they had that mainstay female lead vocalist, and then she left after I think it was like fucking 10 years or something. And then here comes White Gloves into the mix, and her voice is strong. She's got a gorgeous look and full of fucking energy. And
I
some
couldn't
people
remember.
hate on her and some people don't. It's weird.
I couldn't remember her name there for me. The lead singer of Lacuna Coil is Christina Scabia is her name.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of the subreddits and stuff are always saying to check out Unleashed Memories.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a reference, like that particular
Yeah.
album really hits with people.
Yep. Trying to remember what all songs was on that one. Purify was one of them, and Distant Sun.
Yes, definitely. Erica brings up another one that we might want to actually check out. It says, "What about Florence and the Machine?" I've heard the name, but I haven't checked them out. So,
Same here.
uh,
So
we're always learning too. It's like I said, this is a much broader subgenre of metal that most people don't realize just how fucking big it is in a lot of ways. Uh, Babylon says,
I
"I thought
just read
somebody was
that.
going to say Evanescence." we briefly talked about Evanescence.
Their old shit's good. Their new shit's kind of so
Well, like I said,
the middle shit, not their newer shit. The middle shit.
the stuff in the middle got kind of like, what are we doing? Are we
Yeah,
metal or are we just full on goth pop, if you will?
that's when they broke up and Amy Lee was off writing kids books.
Oh, dude, yeah, actually they do, man. Aaron says, not actually sure they fully count, but I like Orgy. Orgy was a new metal band. And of course, they really do kind of fit in the goth genre. It's just unfortunate that what broke them and made them popular was their cover of fucking Blue Monday from the 80s. And it's not because it's a bad song. It's a fucking fantastic fucking song. But unfortunately, a cover is what got them to the bit of success that they had in the early 2000s. Very heavy though. I actually kind of preferred their original stuff more than that cover. Not to say that the cover was bad, you know. Awesome. Excellent choice. My next one is definitely an obvious choice. You can't talk about goth metal and not have this band be part of it. Just because they are black metal most of the time. It's what is put into it, the addition of a female vocalist that does backups. They are telling tales, horrific tales. They're very much into horror, especially their lead singer, Danny Filth. So we can't be talking about goth metal and not talk about Cradle of Filth. And the album that everyone kind of agrees now, I do agree, Midian is a kick-assery fucking album. But Cruelty and the Beast by far, I think, was their most goth album. I mean, it was heavy, but there was so much like theatrical moments, atmospheric moments, big fucking keys, strings. Obviously the backup female vocalist doing all the countess parts in that concept record. Just I mean, it screamed goth to me, even though it was heavy. It had skank beats, it had blast beats. And Midian is actually a very heavy record. So it's pretty interesting that they chose that one. But honestly, I would say you could literally jump in at any point. If you're more of a pure black metal lover, check out their first three records. Those are more black metal than probably any of the other ones, like true black metal. But after that, it's definitely gotten very goth metal style, very symphonic black metal style.
Another one. That was the first time I heard them was off the Resident Evil soundtrack as well.
That's why I always say. That's why I say, this type of metal is very synonymous with horror films, and you see a lot of them showing up on such soundtracks as that. The Victor Crowley series had fucking Marilyn Manson and some other, spooky bands. Shit.
But, one of their heavier songs that's really goth, like goth influencing, which all their music really is, but it's Right Wing of the Guarding Triptych.
Oh,
I love that fucking song.
yeah. I also really enjoyed that record, Nephamphetamine.
It's off. Oh shit, what was it off of?
I think that was the name of the album, if I remember correctly.
I think it may be, but methamphetamine was the one that was on uh, Resident Evil.
Oh, okay. I'll have to look up the name of the record, but yeah. We got some comments here. Lizzie says, first time I heard of Cradle of Filth was watching clips of the It Crowd.
Right.
Okay.
Right Wing of the Guarding Triptych is off of Hammer of the Witches.
You are kind of correct there, Erica. She says, what about the Cult? I always thought they were goth. They were definitely goth, but they were more like goth rock. Not exactly metal, but I understand the confusion because, back in the days of Hit Parader magazine and Circus magazine, they were constantly in them. And you go and you listen to their tracks. I remember seeing their video on Headbangers Ball, and I was like, this really isn't metal. This is just heavy, kind of like hard rock, but it's a bit goth, in my opinion, because of the look and, a lot of the subject matter. So I guess you could say that, but I don't know. I don't find them to be as metal, but definitely goth in their own right.
It's kind of like
Hey, what's up, JD? Good to see you, brother. What's going on?
kind of like The Cure and
Right.
what is their name? Susie and the Banshee. Isn't that what they're called? Her name,
Oh,
that woman.
Susie and the Banshees.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, still very goth.
but not metal.
Well, no, not really metal.
Yeah.
People also misconstrue Sisters of Mercy, which was a huge goth rock band, as also kind of falling in the metal category. And I'm like, they're not quite heavy enough. Metal has a certain feeling, and whether or not you're gothic, in your style and all, but to be metal, it has to have the components, which is why there's the wild card, of the gentleman you see behind us there, the almighty Saint Peter. That band had the elements of metal, doom metal, and just like goth rock influence, if you ask me.
Their first album was hell. It had a little bit of a punk throw to it
That's
as well.
because those were songs from his Carnivore.
Carnivore. Yeah.
Yeah, those first two records are basically Carnivore under a new freaking name. They didn't reach their own until, well, you all know what happened when Bloody Kisses came out. Solidified in one fucking record.
Yep.
For sure. Aaron says, at first I would have considered Nine Inch Nails goth to a degree, but only at first. Goth industrial, sir.
Yep.
So you were right, but they are goth industrial. Even though he did have a sense of metal in it because of, the live guitar. He also had a live drummer and a live bass player. So I could see that.
What Babylon just asked, they're listed. If you do a list of
Actually
metal bands, Celtic Frost is in it. Like, I'm thinking, how the fuck are they in it? But I guess their later shit might be.
It has to do with an album in particular, and I got that because I knew they were going to come up. It was from their album Into the Pandemonium in 1987. It's got gothic, what they call atmosphere and
Yeah,
eroticism. I'm sitting here going Celtic Frost, and you're using the word eroticism at the same time. They're basically kind of talking about the darkness of the record.
yeah,
So they do have some of the goth elements. I truly believe, because I actually went back and I went through that record a little bit more, and I was like, yeah, I could see why people would throw them on this list. See, there's a lot of metal bands, guys. We've already talked about a black metal, actually two black metal bands that ended up becoming a bit more goth, but not totally leaving the extreme metal part. They're called crossovers. There's so
yeah,
many bands that fall in more than one category.
for sure.
Erica says, thoughts on In This Moment?
I don't really consider. I don't really consider them goth metal, but
No, but the stage theatrics could kind of give you that type of atmosphere.
yeah,
Definitely metal, I will say that. And I will always say, good for them. I am not a fan of her vocal style. I have always been forthright about that. I think the songs are good, musically. It's just I can only take so much of that voice. It's metal. I'm not sure if they actually fall into a subgenre of metal, maybe new metal in a way, I guess you could say, because there was really nobody doing it like they are obviously doing it.
yeah,
But you know, like I said, pretty good stuff. It's just I can only take it in small doses. When she gets to, there are we've talked about it on this program. I don't know how many times some of these girls can scream like men do. Some actually do it better than some of the men do, and that's
yeah.
that's that's fact. That's not me throwing
I
anything.
watched. I watched a band over the weekend. They like they was gonna be in my mentions, but fuck it, I'll do it now. Uh, uh, she's a female lead band from Utah. The name's Arsenic Addiction, and
Mhm.
they have that goth metal element there, but she can do a black metal fucking scream better than most men I've ever seen in my life,
Serious,
and like they're amazing.
there's a lot of them that can do it.
They're definitely worth checking out.
Erica says, I've got a wicked horror movie scream. That's awesome. Shit, that could land you some roles if you got, that final girl scream. Do it up like Jamie Lee. Shit, you'll get plenty of roles doing that.
That shattering glass scream.
Yeah, exactly right. Actually, what's your next one there, brother?
My next one's gonna be Paradise Lost.
I knew it was
Mm.
coming. The one that they all
Uh,
point to is Draconian Times, that particular album.
that's well, the first album I ever heard from was The Plague Within,
Yep,
and
it's a damn good one.
I was definitely very dark elements to that album to me. The song from it that stands out to me the most is "No Hope in Sight."
Mm.
But overall, if there was one song I picked from that band, overall, it'd be off their latest, their latter album, Obsidian. And that's Darker Thoughts, because
Oh, yeah.
it slows it down. It has that dark gothic feel to it, and he's pretty much just talking, but everything he says in the beginning of it leads up to a smack in the face of just metal.
That's another one of those bands, man, that has the elements of goth, but also have the elements of doom.
Yeah,
Paradise Lost is definitely a crossover kind of band. And I mean, they've come up quite a few times in some of our talks on Tracks of the Dam. So
and there's a recent discovery for me.
there you
Like
go.
not too long. Not too long before you and Beast talked about them before, I had discovered them then, and I was like, huh. And when y'all said, "But go back and check these out," I went back and I was like, yeah, they're definitely one of those bands that can do doom, goth, and a little bit of everything mixed all into one. I love bands like that. I love a band that just doesn't stick
Yeah,
to one thing.
definitely. Great melodic voice. Babylon makes a really good argument here. Not really an argument, but you know what I mean. He says they aren't goth metal, but Mastodon put out a dark album because there were more than one family members that had cancer and possibly offed himself.
Mm.
Oh, can't remember the name, but they wrote about it. Oh, Emperor. Oh, yeah, that one. Emperor of Sand was the darker Mastodon
They
record.
they do have that tendency. Like some of their songs have it. They hint at it very well.
They do. Very doomy.
Yeah.
Again, here we go. Doom and goth. They kind of go together like really, really well, like peanut butter and jelly.
You take that doom element, the dark, little bit drone doom, and
Hmm.
a female vocal and some piano to it, you have fucking goth metal. So
Yeah, but sometimes they don't always have that female
yeah,
back.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
but because some of the guys just have, especially Paradise Lost, man,
yeah,
fucking just an amazing melodic voice.
yeah.
And it's the same with Mastodon too. But they can get heavy though, and that's another thing. They can get real heavy. Oh, absolutely, Babylon. We love the goth doom as well.
Exactly. It's like
uh,
I said before.
I
Like
feel like it's underrated in a lot of ways.
I love a band that can be themselves, but also have other elements with it. If that makes any sense at all. I
Totally.
love I love when a band can be diverse in what they do. I, I think the same metal over and over gets boring sometimes, and it gets like you're stuck in a fucking loop. Megadeth. Um,
I still wonder how people can just take an hour and a half of Dave Mustaine's voice. There are times where his voice ain't that bad, and then there's times where it's just like, damn
uh,
it.
that
It's like
sweat and bullets gets on my damn nerves so bad.
him trying to sound all fucking scary. Sure.
Yep.
It's about as scary as Danzig's left nipple. Uh,
Tyler, come here, damn it.
right. Well, we definitely can't talk about goth metal and not talk about My Dying Bride.
For sure.
And the album that is very widely mentioned is Like Gods of the Sun. Another fucking heavy ass band, but they have those goth elements.
Yeah.
And again, it's interwoven with doom. There's a pattern here that we're seeing. Which I'm sure the last pick of Cody's is going to be the one that sets it off. These two musical styles, they kind of are in a romance together.
Yeah.
But with My Dying Bride, again, great melodic voice. Very a little bit heavier because there's some double bass usage, which you don't really get a lot in goth metal. Well, I can't say that because of Cradle of Filth. But
Mhm.
for a band that's not on the extreme side, because My Dying Bride is not an extreme metal style, but it's in there. There are some aggressive vocals, lots of chugging, and that's another purified sign of goth metal style. Lots of chugging. You're not going to get a lot of tremolo picking unless they are a bit more extreme. But with this band, to me, they could do the soundtrack to a horror video game. in my opinion.
I'm sorry, man. I seen something moving behind me, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't realize the TV was playing Rugrats, so I got distracted for a second. I was like, "What the hell was that?"
He's like, man, we're raising something here. What the fuck is going on? I'm gonna see if I can pull up this album so I can quote some. I haven't listened to it in a while, so I want to. This goes back to '95, guys. My Dying Bride goes back to the '90s. The Dark Caress, goth-alicious tune in every sense of the imagination. Another tune that I really love off of there is All Swept Away, and For My Fallen Angel. So if you really like that traditional, very melodic, but very dark kind of goth sound, definitely check this record out. It's Like Gods of the Sun. We got some comments. Here we go.
Babylon's is surprising. And it brought another band that's in that that genre kind of to mind, and I'm trying. It's kind of one of mine too. It's called the Mars Volta, and they have a song called "The Widow."
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
He said his guilty pleasure is 30 Seconds to Mars, Beautiful Lie. I don't think I've heard it, so I may have to check that out.
the Mars Volta. They're kind of in that same. It's got a very very dark element to it. The music videos like a. If I remember right, it's been years since I watched it, but he's going around, he's giving like a fake pop, like ice cream out, and it's causing a plague and like that. And it's just that dark element to it.
You had me at dark element.
Yeah.
It's like I always say, there are various degrees of heavy. You don't have to be super fast. You don't have to cram 50 million fucking 30-second notes into one bar for it to be a heavy type of song. And having that dark atmosphere just makes it that much more cool.
Like the whole music video is shot with a red light on it and everything. So it's got that atmosphere already to it.
Hell yeah. So I bet we can guess what your final pick is.
Oh, everybody gonna know. It's Typo Negative. And most people started with it. Like, I'm young, okay? Yeah, y'all got to experience Typo Negative in their heyday. I had to go back and learn it. But the first album I ever heard by them was Dead Again.
But that's a great record.
It had September Sun on it and The Prophet of Doom. And that's kind of what September Sun is kind of what started it off. And then I went from there to Black Number One and all of that, and Christian Woman, Love You to Death, all of those. And then I fully listened to October Rust and Bloody Kisses. And that's just Typo Negative has been one of my love. I say love bands, and I mean, it's a band I really love. Like, I can put them on, just let them go and not. My favorite song is If You Don't Kill Me, I Gotta Kill You. I'm going to have to kill you. That is my favorite fucking song. I will put it on and play it over and over.
That was one of the greatest things about Peter Steele is he didn't give a fuck.
Fuck no.
Whatever he wanted to say, that's how it came out. He's a brutal, honest singer-songwriter.
When a band has two albums, one of them has the lead singer's asshole on it, and their first album is a picture right above his junk, is when you can tell that the singer does not give a solid fuck about anything. Never had the scratch and sniff sticker on it.
Oh, yeah, sadly, yes. Oh man, and this wasn't your typical goth style band.
It was fucking heavy.
It was heavy bass, distorted bass, not only distorted, but I think he was using like a phaser or
Yeah,
something, a second effect on his bass that just made his bass sound so fucking chunky. And it was always prominent. I mean, he wasn't a prolific bass player. He wasn't no Jaco Pastorius, but you know, the dude could fucking play. And he very much played like almost like a guitar player, kind of like Geezer Butler.
yeah.
Uh, you know, he wrote a lot of stuff just from his bass lines.
I think that would be my three bass players. It'd be Peter Steele, Geezer Butler, and fucking Lemmy.
Oh
That
yeah,
would I'd love to sit in the fucking room with them three people and just let them go. Like I wouldn't say a damn word. I'd just sit there and watch.
exactly right. And just amazement, going, damn. I wish I could even do just an inch of what you guys can do.
Exactly.
You know, but you know, the typical goth metal band didn't look like these guys.
No.
All of them, not these little thin-railed, you know, cutesy little goth guys. You know, it's kind of like, Pat, is it a boy or a girl? No. When Peter Steele came out, he looked like fucking Count Dracula.
He was 7 foot goddamn tall. So
Tall and like literally the Incredible fucking Hulk of a
when I
guy.
heard when I heard him, I didn't see him at first. You know, I didn't see him until I watched fucking Black Number One music video, and you see this big son bitch standing there with a fucking face
Strap.
turned sideways
Yeah.
with a chain, just playing the hell out of it. And that's when you realize how big he really was.
Yeah, when you can comfortably strap on a upright bass that's used in string class with a chain, you're a bad motherfucker. And then let's not forget about that voice.
Oh yeah. This is gonna come off weird, but I always told my friends, they were like, "Why do you listen to this so much?" I was like, "I'm not gay, but that dude's voice does things." It's not like that, but it's to the point, like, you know exactly what I'm talking about. His voice can change a lot of things.
It he has a way of transporting you from whatever's going on in your world at that moment, and then suddenly everything's great. It's all dark, it's wonderful, it's gory. uh you know what I mean? He takes you into this darker, more sinister, dare I say, sometimes very satanic world.
Yeah.
uh you know, with their music, even though, I mean, they've never really, you know, said that they were or anything, but there was definitely moments in there where you could kind of get that feel.
Prophet of Doom.
Oh yeah,
Prophet of Doom is one of them that you can.
definitely. Or even Hallows Eve.
Yeah. Green Light.
Yeah, that one. Yep, definitely. And Babylon mentioned another one, Redwater.
Yeah.
Oh, chorus pedal. Thank you. I said phaser. Thank you, Master Babylon, for setting me straight. That's exactly what he was using. He was using a chorus pedal.
I love you get the blasphemy from it because he dressed as a fucking priest for one thing, and then the song "fucking Christian Woman."
Well, you know, he was a no bullshit kind of guy. He took himself seriously, but not so seriously that it would just show a larger ego than his body.
Yeah.
He went out there, he did what he wanted to do. If people dug it, great.
Not fuck you.
Exactly. And the whole reason that he decided to pump iron, because if you look at him from the Bloody Kisses album, he was not nearly as big of a motherfucker as he became by October Rust.
Yeah.
Uh, he said, you know, most of the rock stars at that time, he said, were either fat or, you know, this and that. He's like, no, we want to present ourselves looking good while we're doing what we're doing. And I always thought that was just so brutally honest. You know, it wasn't for like health or anything like
Yeah.
that. He's just like, we want to give the ladies something to look at, even though we're a bunch of scumbags.
He definitely did in Playgirl. So
I Oh my
Guess you
goodness.
say mission accomplished on that one.
But as always, especially in the great month of October, Hallow horror time, we miss you, man. You left us a legacy that I don't think anyone to this day can fill. So it's always a pleasure to talk about Typo.
Oh
Always,
yeah,
always.
that's
And and if it wasn't for Typo, we wouldn't have got a pale horse named Death, or Kenny Hickey's, the former Typo guitar player, him and uh, oh fuck, Johnny Johnny Kelly, the drummer. They have
yeah.
their own new band now that they formed with one of the members of Down and Crowbar. So we wouldn't
What's
have
it
those bands if it
What's it
wasn't.
called? I want to check it out. I'll
It's
Google it
escaping me
later.
at the moment, but I will definitely hit you up after. Hell yeah.
See, that's the thing. I didn't ever know if any of the members of Typo were still going, if they just let it go when Peter passed, or what.
Oh, they let it go. They went straight to a pale horse named Death. Uh, I believe they do. And I'm sure if you search the web there, Babylon, you will, in fact, be able to find it.
Babylon, you worry me sometimes, buddy.
Right? It's like, wait a minute, this isn't Saturday yet. My final pick, because we've already talked about honorable mentions, to be perfectly honest. Most of
Yeah.
y'all hit the ones that I was thinking of. But this is a band that if you haven't checked them out, Tiamat, and the record is Wild Honey. This is another band, much like my last pick, that is definitely more on the heavier metal side. Not so much atmospheric as in, heavy keys or anything like that.
Yeah.
But definitely dark as fuck. I mean, first of all, Tiamat. I mean, that's another one of the millions of names for the devil. So when you call your band that, you're definitely not singing about fucking sunshine and roses here.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely super dark lyrics, excellent melodicism, melodic guitar riffing, still, a little bit more mid tempo. There are some elements of doom in there too, but it's not prolific. But I definitely recommend you check that particular record out. Let me see if I had it pulled up. I'm almost there. There we go. This again, the 90s, man. The 90s was the heyday for goth metal.
Because everything was changing back then. This shit was so good.
Oh, big time.
Look
Yeah.
at the fucking Crow. That movie was so goddamn dark and filmed in the 90s. And you could get the element of why shit was so dark and music was changing metal wise back then.
Well, that was because that was the era of the graphic novel.
Yeah.
And people were really still big on reading back then. So there were some of the most fucked up stories, and The Crow being one of them. And of course, it was a no brainer. Let's make this fucking thing a movie. And it garnished one of the most diverse soundtrack, but every single band that was on that soundtrack played some of the best fucking songs, from metal to goth rock. Man, you had a little bit of everything, even some grunge era in there. That was, I mean, the songs were good. That Stone Temple Pilots song. Oh man, that was when they were truly, truly at their best. But the songs that I definitely urge you guys to listen to off of Wild Honey is the R, Visionaire, and I always like to try to pick 3 songs, and Do You Dream of Me. Do You Dream of Me is just, it's so ethereal, if you know what I mean. Very kind of ghost-like. Not Ghost the band. I'm saying like a ghost. Just kind of puts the tinglies on the back of your neck kind of thing. Very spooky. and just a great dark album. Got a
That's
couple of comments here. Go ahead, brother.
that's for me. That's what makes the goth metal is it has that spook factor. If you listen to it and it sends that chill down your damn spine, you know you've hit something.
Well, sure. You don't necessarily have to be a screamer, a
Oh,
guttural
no.
screamer, to put that kind of fear in you. It's almost like if you took the Mad Hatter and amplified him by, I don't know, like 1,000, 1,000 times more sinister. It's like the Mad Hatter and the Joker got together and combined. That's kind of what a lot of these melodic singers can kind of do, in a way. So I've kind of figured this, Babylon. He says, "Oh, I'm a sick bastard 24/7, except on the Sabbath, because that's the day I'm extremely perverse."
I looked over and just read that by the time you clicked it. That's what I was laughing at.
By far, that is one of the most truest statements ever. We love you, sir. Yes, I have to agree with you. Mad Season, very doomy goth. This was, if I remember correctly, Lane Staley's side project.
Oh shit! I'm definitely gonna check that out.
The great Lane Staley. Yeah, I did not get a oh man. I heard it once. Of course, this was back in the 90s, 30 fucking years ago. So I need to revisit that because I do remember people saying that record was, Lane Staley from fucking Alice in Chains, but this is not Alice in Chains. This is darker and heavier, is what they told me.
That's if I think of grunge music, that's who I think of. He was to me, he was the best grunge vocalist there was.
Mm-hmm.
He beat out. I like Chris Cornell. He beat Chris Cornell. He for damn sure beat fucking Kurt Cobain.
Oh please. Don't get me started on that whole debacle. We may have to do a whole show devoted to that, like the worst of the grunge era.
Yeah, then I can tell my fucked up joke about Kurt Cobain.
Fucking hell. But and for me, Alice in Chains was, I never really considered them to be grunge. There was so much metal influence, and what is metal influenced by? The blues. You have Jerry Cantrell, who is very, very much a blues guitar player.
Exactly.
Seriously, like they were just metal, but because they were from Seattle, oh, let's snatch them up because they knew that Alice in Chains would be a crossover act. They could play on a metal stage. They could play on a grunge festival. They can do both of them, and they were flawless at it. Nothing against the singer that stepped in and took Lane's place, but man, there was just only one Lane.
That's what I was going to say. It's about another like one of them Chester Bennington things. He can do it. Dude can do it, but he's not. He's never going to be Lane Staley.
Well, and that's why Lincoln Park is getting their asses handed to them right now.
Yeah.
With what's going on. We talked a little bit about that on the goddamn program this past Sunday. So if you want to go back and check that segment out, it's on Reapers Underground Facebook, as well as Morgrot Universe, Black Flame Entertainment, and of course, all of the YouTubes as well. Yes, that is one of the things that I think was most magical about them, was the amazing harmonies between Jerry and Lane. I've never heard another duo, and don't anybody say fucking extreme or I'll have a fucking shit fit. More than words. Get the fuck out of here. That fucking song was terrible.
I listened to that song probably one time. Like, growing up, you listen a little bit of everything. If you're introduced to something, you're going to check out everything and figure out what you like and what you don't. I heard that song one fucking time, and I ain't ever listened to it again.
No doubt. Oh, yeah, that would have been really cool, too. Babylon says, would love to have seen Lane and Chris as solo albums. Absolutely. Most doubt.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, think the last stuff that Cornell was doing was his own solo shit. So those that actually got to see that, consider yourselves very lucky. I'm sure you could probably find some of that footage on YouTube, as you know, you can pretty much find anything on YouTube. But that is our top 10 list of some of the most gothorific metal bands. Some of which maybe some of y'all didn't know, because usually when you ask somebody, "Hey, uh, what goth metal bands do you know? Like, what should I be listening to?" A lot of the times you're going to get, Marilyn Manson, you know, Manson's mentioned, and Rob Zombie, to his credit, he kind of also fits into that realm too, which is why we didn't mention him, because most people will say Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie. Some people will even put Alice Cooper in there, which is fine, but he really didn't become metal until the 80s. Because
I
that's
don't
when,
see him as metal now. I still don't.
you know what? He's got one
I
of the
do.
best. He's got one of the best guitarists in the world right now. He and has for years, ever since I think the late 80s. Nina Strauss. She is by far one of the most amazing guitarists. He's got a metal backup band, but still, I would say more on the goth end of things, because
Yeah.
Billion Dollar Babies, that record was definitely more of a metal record. Obviously, Poison was definitely a metal record for him. And all of the ones that came after that, all very metal. They're just not super heavy.
That's what they don't really have a heavy element to them. I think that's kind of what throws me off about it, because like
Well, sure.
school's out for summer. I've heard that song so much, and it just doesn't have no metal element to me. I can't. I think it's the problem. I can't get past that. I love Poison though.
Right. Absolutely. I love Babylon's description here. Zombie is porno disco goth. In some ways, you are absolutely right, because some of the stuff that he's been doing with Johnny Five, definitely so much more like funk influence in there, like bouncy shit. Uh,
Everybody's fucking in a UFO.
that song is like a gothic boogie down. So I I definitely could say that I can agree with that statement. But you know, hail to the King Freak was definitely a heavy fucking song for him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is the Rob that we all fell in love with in the beginning.
That album get banned in the US?
That one there, the title, yeah,
The title
he
did.
had to put I believe a censored version. Yeah. You gotta love it when that happens, because that means we're doing something right in the
Right.
metal world. We're, you know what I mean? Otherwise, it's just another era of Def Leppard, Poison, Warrant, and all those guys. No, thank you. But hopefully, we gave you guys some choices out there to listen to if you haven't checked them out, and you might find that you dig them, because one of the things you found out is just how synonymous both ends of the spectrum, doom and extreme metal, can also be very much goth at the same time. Definitely appreciate y'all tuning in on this auspicious Tuesday night. And don't forget, we actually have a double shot Reapers Underground week, starting with the great professional wrestler and horror actor Clifton Taylor, going to be in the underground on Thursday night. And then I'm so excited about this. We're going to have Keith Groyon, director and creator of the Red Huntress series that you all know that I've been involved in and will be throughout the entire show. They're going to be here, and we're going to unveil for the first time the trailer for episode 1. So we're going to drop it on Reapers Underground before it hits YouTube. So definitely join us live for that. And I believe we're doing a little giveaway too. So hell yeah. Stay tuned for that. And then, of course, Saturday night, the goddamn program returns, and that will be at 9 p.m. Central Time. So that's 10 p.m. Eastern. And we look forward to you guys joining us for that one. So, hey, tomorrow is hump day. The week is almost half over. And if you're feeling still kind of unsure about how your week is going, if it's been a little trying, just remember who you are. Don't give a fuck. Be yourself, for you and only for you, and always stay heavy.